Okay, great. Well, welcome to the webinar. My name's Claire. I work on the Magical team here. Excited to share a little bit more about Magical for recruiting. I'm going to start off by sharing a little bit about how Toast's talent acquisition team communicates faster with candidates using Magical. I'll start with a few slides and then I'll go into a live demo to teach you how you can actually do this yourself using Magical. So what do we all want as professional recruiters? We all want more qualified leads or candidates, and we want to spend more time with new hires. And of course, ultimately, we all want better work-life balance. But what gets in our way? Lots of manual tasks. So workers spend about 30% of their time on manual repetitive tasks. That's 624 hours of productivity lost per worker per year. We talked to Liv, a senior talent recruiter specialist at Toast, a leading all-in-one point of sale system, about her experience in recruiting. She shared the biggest culprits for these manual tasks where she was spending a lot of time sending customized, personalized messages to candidates on LinkedIn, manually updating her ATS, and doing a lot of candidate research for sourcing. Liv ended up finding Magical, and I want to tell you a little bit about her experience with the product. So Liv and her team could quickly save those messaging templates as shortcuts in Magical. She can quickly send those messages to candidates on LinkedIn, and Magical will automatically customize those messages with personal information like first name, job title, company name, all using Magical variables. And I'll show you how to do this in the live demo. She can also share those templates with the rest of her team, and they can quickly get started using the same messages that she's using on a daily basis. She also uses Magical to update her greenhouse ATS with candidates' personal information. So instead of having to copy and paste this information over from LinkedIn, she can just use this / command and it'll fill out that information automatically for her. And then lastly, Liv also uses Magical to research new candidates on LinkedIn, and she can quickly fill spreadsheets with their information with one click using Magical. So all in all, Liv can now send hundreds of messages to candidates in a single week. And she explained to us that she really doesn't want to do this job without Magical helping her. So the outcome, we have 15 talent acquisition specialists collaborating on Magical today. Each person says they're saving about 3 hours per week and really increasing their productivity. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Also, feel free to ask questions in the chat and I'll answer those live. Okay, so if you haven't started using Magical yet, the first thing you'll want to do is go to getmagical.com. Click the Add to Chrome button. This will take you to our Chrome web store. You're going to click Add to Chrome, and this will send you through like an authentication process where you can verify your email address. Once you've done that, the first thing you'll want to do is pin the app. So if you go up to this puzzle icon, you can find Magical in this dropdown and just click this little pin icon. And this will allow Magical to come with you as you're browsing different websites, and you can create shortcut messages on the fly or do different things like transferring profiles. So to get to the Magical workspace, I'm going to open a new tab and then click the Magical icon. Here you can see I'm in the Magical workspace. These are all my private message templates and transfers, and then different teams on the side here. So I've created one for our recruiting team. It doesn't have any shortcuts in it yet. I'll show you how to do that next. So the first thing you'll want to do is actually just create a new shortcut. So this is any text that you write repetitively to maybe candidates. So for this example, I'll do maybe like a LinkedIn outreach shortcut. This is my trigger. So this is how I'll recall this shortcut in the future. I'll also show you, if you don't want to remember all of your triggers, how to recall this using a drop down in a second. Then you're going to start to build your actual body of your message. This could be, your Zoom link, it could be your Calendly link, it could be your signature. For this example, I'm actually just going to create a little template message for my LinkedIn outreach. So, hi, first name, How are things going at company name? Something like that. I'm sure you guys would come up with something much more creative. I'll give this a signature. And then I'm building these with placeholder text for first name and company name because Magical will be able to actually fill that information in using information from the tabs that are open on my screen. So make sure you start to use that sort of placeholder text to get the full value of these messaging templates. I'm going to click save. And then let's say I am doing some outreach. I found Simran, our talent lead here. She's on the call today. Her profile, she looks like someone, I would want to reach out to. I can actually just click message her. And let's say I've forgotten that, trigger that I just created. I can also use this // command, and that will pull up all of my saved shortcuts in Magical, and I can select the one that I want here. So I can select that one I just created, remove this, and Magical is starting to suggest, oh, it looks like you have first name Simran and her company name Magical on this page. Do you want to just fill that out automatically? I do, so I'm just going to click yes, and then that automatically fills out this message for me. This will work on any app, not just LinkedIn, any app where you're typing messages. You can also go into Gmail and use this same thing. I can use that same / and pull up my messaging templates. It's also going to see that I have Simran's profile open here, so I can send that message here as well. And this would work on social media, any sites like Facebook or Twitter. It could also work if you're using sort of chat tools like Intercom. It can also work there, or even your internal sites that you might be using. So that's really the messaging use case here. Let's say I'm on a team of recruiters that all want to share that same messaging template. I'm going to go back to my Magical workspace, and I'm going to share this template with my recruiting team. So I'm going to click on this template. I can either share one by one just by clicking this button and share that to the recruiting team. Or if I had a bunch of these, I would select a few of these templates and then share to recruiting that way. Now, once I invite folks to this recruiting team, all they'll need to do is actually join this team to start seeing those shortcuts. If you see this join icon here, that's what they'll need to click. Once they've joined this, they'll be able to use this trigger and expand this shortcut automatically. They can also see their team shortcuts in the dropdown. So if I go back to this template and I click // you can see I can see my personal shortcuts up above, and then also these team-based shortcuts below that I can start to use. So that's our messaging use case. The other use case I explained in the beginning was about sourcing, a bunch of candidates. So let's say I'm doing a job search and I'm, looking at all of these lovely people from Magical, and I want to actually, pull all of them into a spreadsheet so that I could, share with my stakeholders, manipulate the data in some way, and then send an outreach message. I'm just going to open up all of these profiles into new tabs. So I have these all open, and then I'm going to open up a new Google Sheet. So what I want to do is actually go to Simran's profile and open up the Magical icon here. And I'm going to go to this transfers tab. So we just went through shortcuts, which is messaging, and then transfers here is how you will move data from one source like LinkedIn to a destination like Google Sheets. So we actually have a way to do this in one click. I'm going to click this transfer to new sheet button. And it's going to ask me if I want to just transfer Simran's profile or if I want to transfer all of these profiles that I have open. And those will all transfer just using that one click all. The last use case I wanted to share was sort of about filling out your ATS. So I'll give an example using Greenhouse. And let's say you're adding a bunch of candidates to Greenhouse. You're going to pull up this form, and this can work in other ATS or basically any form that you fill out on a regular basis. You'll come down to this form, and Magical is going to start to ask you, okay, who do you want to pull into this form? You have a bunch of these tabs open with first name. Who do you want to pull over? So I'm going to pull over Ralph, and I'm going to map this with first name, last name. Let's do his company, Magical, and then his title, product. You could even use maybe something like, maybe if you wanted to add his URL into the notes. So the first time you fill out this form, you're going to map the fields that you want to bring over, and then add this candidate. And then the next time you go to fill out that form, Magical will remember that mapping, and it'll ask you to, it'll give you this button, all variables. So for Simran, it's going to ask, do you want to bring over all of Simran's variables? Yes, and it automatically populates the rest of this form for me. So her first name, last name, her company, and then her title and her URL here. So that's how you would use Magical to basically fill out a form. Let's say you had a bunch of recruiters that all need to do that similar workflow. They all need to fill out this form. Magical will actually save that as a transfer, that sort of automated workflow as a transfer. So if I go back to my workspace and go into private and transfers, let's see, it should save, it saved this. This was filling Raf's profile into Greenhouse. I'm going to manage that and give this a better name. So this is like LinkedIn to Greenhouse. And then I want to share that with my recruiting team. So anyone who's on my recruiting team can see that same transfer and start to use it automatically. So when they start to move information from LinkedIn into Greenhouse, they don't need to map that field once. They can just do that automatically. Awesome. So those were the three sort of jobs that we have. I'd love to pause if anyone has any questions. Happy to answer.